Greetings, my lords and ladies, and welcome to Quick Thought. I'm your host, Quasarius Quick Thought, and I'm glad to have you. This is the tale of how Rhaenyra Targaryen took the capital of King's Landing. Shortly after the Greens were deemed victorious at the Honeywine, Aemon One-Eyed Targaryen, serving as regent and protector of the realm for his brother Aegon the Second, who's bedridden from his injuries at Rook's Rest, wanted to solidify their victories a little bit further. Contemptuous of his half-sister Rhaenyra, the protector of the realm saw an even greater threat in their uncle, the Prince Daemon, and the formidable host that he had gathered at Harrenhal. Summoning his bannermen and council, the prince announced his intent to bring the battle to his uncle and chastise the rebellious river lords. Prince Aemon proposed to strike from both east and west to force the lords of the Trident to fight on two fronts at once. Lord Jason Lannister would lead a formidable host and cross the Red Fork, while Sir Criston Cole would march from King's Landing accompanied by Prince Aemon and the formidable Vhagar. And if Daemon would oppose, Vhagar would surely overcome Caraxes, and Prince Aemon would return to the city with his uncle's head. All of the council did not favor the prince's plans, however. Grand Maester Orell urged the prince to send words to Storm's End to add the power of House Baratheon before proceeding. Lord Jasper suggested summoning the Lord of Hightower and his brother Prince Daeron and his dragon Tessarion, while his mother, the Dowager Queen Alicent, suggested waiting for his brother to recover so he and Sunfire may join his cause. But Prince Aemon, however, had no taste for delays, and he also had no wish to share his glory with his brothers or any other man for that matter. A 16-day march to Harrenhal, he proclaimed, and on the 17th day, we will feast inside Black Heron's Hall while my uncle's head looks down from my spear, the prince is recalled to have said. But for his uncle Prince Daemon was too old and a seasoned battler to sit idly and let himself be penned up inside the walls of a castle, even walls as massive as Harrenhal's. For the prince still had friends in King's Landing. The word of his nephew's plan had reached him even before Aemon and his garrison had set out. When told that Aemon and Sir Criston Cole had left King's Landing, it is said that Prince Daemon laughed and said, pastime, for he long anticipated this moment. On the Red Fork, Lord Jason Lannister found himself facing the Lord of Pink Maiden and the Lord of the Wayfarer's Rest, Tristan Vance. Though the Westermen outnumbered their foes, the Riverlords knew the ground rather well. Thrice the Lannisters tried the crossing, and thrice they were driven back. In the last attempt, Lord Jason was dealt a mortal wound at the hands of a grizzled squire. Pate of Longleaf, they called him. However, the fourth Lannister attack carried the fords. This time it was Lord Vance who fell, slain by Sir Adrian Tarbeck, who had taken command of the western host. Tarbeck and 100 picked knights stripped off their heavy armor and swam the river upstream of the battle, then circled about to take Lord Vance's line from the rear. The ranks of the river lords shattered, and the western men came swarming across the Red Fork by the thousands. The Iron Lords had finally declared for his side, when their fleet fell upon the shores of the Lannisters' land, led by Dalton Greyjoy of Pike. Lord Mooten of Maidenpool was one of the many slain after he and a few men at arms attempted to put an end to the dragon Sunfire, who was recently ground-ridden after suffering a torn wing with his fight with Meleys, the Red Queen, above Rook's Rest. When Lord Mooten's body was found a fortnight later by his brother Manfred, nothing remained but charred flesh and melted armor crawling with maggots. However, the wounded dragon Sunfire was gone. It seemed that it had taken flight again, but no one could say where. Meanwhile, Prince Daemon Targaryen himself hasted south on the back of his dragon Caraxes, above the western shore of the God's Eye, far away from Sir Criston's line of march. And on Dragonstone, the Princess Rhaenyra suited up and took flight on the back of her dragon Syrax. Well above the city, the queen and her prince consort came together, circling over Aegon's high hill. Prince Aemon and his hand Sir Criston Cole had the new King's Landing of defenders when they set forth to retake Harrenhal. When the prince took Vhagar, the largest and oldest of the Targaryen dragons, that left only Dreamfire and a handful of half-grown hatchlings to oppose the queen's dragons. And since Dreamfire's rider, the sweet Queen Helaena, was a broken woman, the city had as well been dragonless. With both the Lord Protector and the king's hand absent, and the King Aegon himself burned and bedridden, and lost in poppy dreams, it fell to his mother, the Dowager Queen, to see for the city's defenses. Queen Alicent rose to the challenge, closing the gates of the castle and the city, sending gold cloaks to the walls and dispatching riders on swift horses to find her son Prince Aemon and bring him back. As well, she commanded Grand Maester Orell to send ravens to all their Lear lords, summoning them to the defense of their true king. When Orell hasted back to his chambers, however, he found 4 gold cloaks awaiting him. One man muffled his cries as the other beat and bound him. With the bag pulled over his head, the Grand Maester was escorted down to the black cells of the Red Keep. For all the strength the capital walls had, King's Landing fell in less than a day. One by one, dragons made their descent onto the capital. Sheepstealer lighted on top of Asenya's Hill, while Silverwing and Vermithor sat upon the Hill of Rhaenys. Prince Daemon circled the towers of the Red Keep numerous times before bringing Caraxes down. Only when he was certain the defenders would offer him no harm did he signal for his wife, the queen, to descend upon Syrax. Autumn Velaryon remained aloof,
flying sea smoke around the city walls.
The beat of the dragon's wide leather wings sent a caution throughout the city, letting it be known that defiance would be met with fire.
Upon seeing that resistance was hopeless, the Dowager Queen Alicent emerged from Maegor's holdfast with her father Sir Otto Hightower, Sir Tywin Lannister, and Lord Jasper Wilde. Lord Lair Strong was not with them. The Master of Whispers somehow managed to disappear. It was said that Queen Alicent attempted to reason with her stepdaughter. "Let us summon a great council, as the old king did in the days of old," said the Dowager Queen, "and lay the matter of succession before the lords of the realm." But Queen Rhaenyra rejected the proposal with scorn. "Do you mistake me for mushrooms?" she said. "We both know how the council will rule." Then she bade her stepmother choose, yield or burn. Bowing her head in defeat, Queen Alicent surrendered the keys to the castle and ordered her knights and men at arms to lay down their swords. "The city is yours, princess," the queen is reported to have said, "but you will not hold it long. The rats play when the cat is gone, but my son Aemon will return with fire and blood." Rhaenyra's men found her sister, the Mad Queen Helaena, locked in her bedchambers. But when they broke down the door of the king's apartments, they discovered only an empty bed and his chamber pots full. The king's two surviving children, the Princess Jaehaera and the Prince Maelor, were also gone, along with Willis Fell and Rickon Thorne. The Queen Rhaenyra would not sleep until she claimed her father's seat, so torches were lit in the throne room, and the queen climbed the iron steps and seated herself, where King Viserys sat before her and the old king before him, as well as Maegor, Aenys, and Aegon the Dragon in the days of old. Lords and ladies pleaded before the throne for her forgiveness and swore their lives and swords in honor to Rhaenyra as queen. It was well past dawn when Rhaenyra Targaryen rose before her descent, and as her lord husband Prince Daemon escorted her from the hall, cuts were seen upon her grace's legs and the palm of her left hand. Drops of blood fell to the floor as she went past, and wise men looked at one another, though none dared to speak the truth aloud. The Iron Throne had spurned her, and her days upon it would be few.